Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to a new segment that I'm going to be calling Hot Tea. This is your host, Chris Avalon. I do a radio show every Saturday on alldigitalradio.com. So basically what this show is going to entail is when the tea is too piping hot that I cannot wait until Saturday pops along to get to a lot of the details, a lot of the stories, a lot of the things I want to get to, because this has just been on my mind. I really need to get it out before this week's show. So I'll be trying to do a couple of episodes as much as I can. There's 3 segments I'm going to be talking about today, and it's all going to be wrapped up in the upcoming Pride Month. Happy Pride, everybody. One of the stories I want to get to is basically RuPaul's Drag Race. It revolves around that. So the first topic I want to get to is this whole thing about Azealia Banks versus RuPaul. Now, I am an Azealia Banks fan. I've been a fan of her since the beginning. I love her 1980 whatever. I'm just over her at this point. Like, I'm just a fan of her 1991 EP. I've loved Fantasy. I loved all the mermaid stuff. I like basically how she kind of brought that whole rap style to house music, which she claims she pretty much invented, which we all know is a goddamn lie. If anybody who's from the gay community knows, she didn't invent shit. If you really want the real tea on it, and I knew this before this video came out, you definitely need to go over to Bob the Drag Queen's YouTube page and check out a little Read of All Reads video that he put together in the form of a rap, by the way, using one of RuPaul's beats from one of the previous seasons. I think it was from his season, actually. I'm trying to remember the name of the song, but it escapes me at the moment. That you'll recognize if you go over there and you watch the video. But anyway, before you do that, watch this video first. My thoughts on this whole thing about Azealia Banks going after RuPaul and stuff. It's like, girl, I loved you. I was a fan of yours, but I just feel like you were just burning every freaking bridge that you've encountered. I don't even think you have many bridges left to burn, because it's just like, okay, so if all of y'all been living under a rock, basically she went on a whole Twitter rant talking about how she notified Spotify to have them remove his song, which I have to say is one of the best songs RuPaul's unleashed in a long time, Call Me Mother, from Spotify, because she says that it rips off her song, The Big Big Beat. Now, if anybody knows this, I've heard many stories about The Big Big Beat. I hope that she paid Bad Boy their money, because allegedly she didn't, she basically took a sample from the Notorious B.I.G., one of his songs, and incorporated it into her song. So I don't know the vicinity of if debts have been paid on that. So if she's sitting there looking for money, I hope she paid her debts to whoever she was supposed to pay it to, mainly Bad Boy and Diddy. So after all of this, of course, people started piping up, but where's the lie? It do sound like similar. No, it doesn't. First of all, Azealia Banks did not invent house music, number one. That is from Chicago, New York, particularly black gay people invented house music. That's basically the origin of it. When you hear Larry Levan, Frankie Knuckles, the list goes on and on and on. I could be here all day and unleash a list of people who have contributed to house music, mainly homosexuals of color. So now, I guess in the means of Pride Month, I don't know why it's taken her until we're immediately in Pride Month for her to pipe up and say something. But apparently she feels the need to just come out and roast RuPaul and say that he basically stole her aesthetic, whatever. Ru hasn't said anything. He hasn't responded, maybe because he's probably in the midst of getting ready to shoot season 11. But to give you an idea, so after she basically went on this whole thing and everybody was going back and forth, like the gays was roasting her, everybody was coming up, some of the Drag Race girls piped up. Monet Exchange was one of them. And here's what she said. She basically was saying that if it wasn't for the gays, yo ashy ass wouldn't have a career. Well, I call the ashy, but I'm just saying, if it wasn't for the gays, she wouldn't have a career, which we all know is true, because who else is supporting her? I mean, the only people that was really bumping Azealia Banks was gays and hipsters. Like hipsters from Brooklyn. Those would be the type of, like, Azalea's musical aesthetic is basically geared towards gay people and like hipster types. Basically a lot of the college kids, a lot of the alternative kids, a lot of white people. So basically those are the ones who would really be supporting Azealia and listening to her music. Hip hop folk ain't checking for her ass. And she's already burned a lot of fucking bridges with them. But anyway, so after Monet Exchange basically said to her, of course you know Azealia had time. So she basically said, implied that her crotch is rotting and fermenting under that sour mildew ass girdle. And then, so she's going after Monet. But like I told you, Bob came out and said something that pretty much shut the bitch down. After all of this, do I think that the song sounds similar? I think they're distant cousins. I believe that Rue took homage from Azealia. I don't think he ripped her off. I think Call Me Mother is a way better song, quite frankly. And I should also point out that Azalea's Twitter account, because, you know, she has burned so many bridges and started so much shit and online bullying and stuff, that her original Azealia Banks, she can't even use her own real name on social media. But her other Twitter that she created has also been suspended. So I don't know. As of this recording, I don't know if it's still up. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the tea is. But Azealia, I really wish that you would focus on giving us some really good music and stop getting into fights with people, because it's not getting you anywhere. It's not helping your career. It's not doing it's not helping you excel to the artist that you need to be. You burned so many bridges. Nobody wants to work with you. So it's unfortunate and it's sad and it is what it is. And let's be clear. Not only if it wasn't for gay people in house music and all this stuff, but rhyming over a house beat is nothing new. You didn't invent that. If you really need an education on who was doing house rapping over a house beat, maybe listen to early Queen Latifah, listen to Moni Love, listen to Salt and Pepper, like listen to a lot of those girls, and they were doing this shit before you. Even some gay artists are rap over a dance beat. Like we have Cakes the Killer is somebody who raps over a beat and does it way better than you. So like I said, focus on your career, stop trying to fight with everybody and whatever. Okay, so let's move on to the next story. So speaking of Drag Race, shout out I must give to my girl Leslie Jones, because she finally managed to get what we all couldn't get out of Willem, which was, why the hell was he finally kicked off the damn show? The real tea on why he was kicked off of Drag Race. So we finally found out the tea. So how it all transpired was that Leslie is binge watching Drag Race now. She's discovered it. She loves it. She's binge watching. So she actually got up to the episode when Willem was eliminated. Basically was disqualified from the show. And for all the years, we always wondered, why was he disqualified? There was so many rumors that was circulating around about it. So then Willem actually sent, a series of tweets and this, that, and the third about what had happened. And basically said that it was a series of things that happened. So I'm going to read to you exactly what she suggested, which was a lot of incidences. It wasn't just one incident. So it basically described how in the first episode, Sharon Needles made a fool of herself during her entrance, and producers allowed her a do-over, but denied Willem and the other girls the same opportunity. Meaning, which I've heard many a times on this show, that when the producers have it set up for certain people that they like, or they want to win, or they plan on progressing throughout the show, that they keep them and they give them a lot more leeway, and they know the girls, if you're not willing to play the game or do whatever, they're going to chop you. So basically, and then she was also said that the queens were told not to make eye contact or engage in conversation with RuPaul. During a promo shoot, a production assistant allegedly had a Me Too moment and grabbed Willem's ass while flirting and was removed to a different department. Willem also describes calling out the producers for exploiting the anniversary of Jiggly Caliente's mother's death, not providing the queens with enough money to eat, and creating unsafe conditions on set that led to injuries. What, y'all couldn't afford craft services? The final nail in the coffin apparently was Willem using a payphone in the hotel lobby to call his hairdresser to come blow out his hair. So basically we're saying that outside contact was verboten, which we all knew this. Like, yeah, you're not supposed to let people know you're on the show. That's why they had to literally duct tape them in the freaking hotel rooms. Once they're in, they're in. They can't go out. They can't do nothing. They have to be confined to a hotel. I kind of wish what they would do with RuPaul's Drag Race, if they would kind of just take the America's Next Top Model route and put them all in a house together. Let them live in a house together. Get some cameras up in there and film that along with the competition, and we can kind of see all of that interwoven in. Why y'all sticking them in some old cheap-ass hotel and having them sit up in there until... Because I always think... I don't know what it was, but like when I first started watching RuPaul's Drag Race, I was always thinking that they had them confined in a goddamn Motel 6. I don't know why, but I just felt like that's what it was. I guess because, bitches on a budget. That's kind of where my mind was. So she also implied that she was also supposed to be on, because I had to keep notes to make sure I have all my thoughts together. She also talked about she was supposed to be on All Stars 1. Didn't even know that. Because I remember over the seasons, everybody was trying to be like, let's get Willem on. Willem needs to be on the show. Like, she would make great ratings, which she does. She does bring the ratings, and because she's a drag queen, she's a drag rebel, like a drag race rebel. Like, and we like the rebels. We like the girls that's willing to kind of step out of line or whatever. So, basically said that the producers did some petty shit, and basically, she was supposed to be on the first season, but canceled her flight 40 hours before filming. They told her they weren't going to use her 40 hours before filming. So she was confirmed for the show. They waited 2 days to tell her that basically, bitch, we don't want you, which fucked up her plans because she literally had to cancel 3 weeks of bookings because they were shooting All Stars around the time of Pride season. And everybody who's in our community knows that Pride season is when you start making your most coin. Like, you can go around the world and travel on the back of Drag Race and make your money and make your bones, and people love you and the fans will come out. But Pride season is the 1 month that, well, not 1 month, because, Pride is in different states, happens around different times. So you'll be booked for the summer. So depending on where it is and where the Pride event is being held. So you will be booked for the summer, and for you to cut off my source of income out of spite and pettiness is the worst. But I don't think Willem's hurting all that much, because I just saw her. She was at DragCon. So I guess bygones is bygones and all is good. Or I guess if you got the coinage to buy a booth in a section, people from World of Wonder can't deny you entrance unless your name is Tyra Sanchez. So that was juicy, and I love the fact that Leslie's managed to get so much out of her. I hope that, Leslie, keep watching the show, and please, girl, I hope that you can, the more you watch the show and more conspiracy theories that we don't know about, like, find out why Sean left as the pit crew. Other stuff. We already found out. Well, if you read the feed, also Miles Davis Moody reveals why he was not on. Why he's not a member of the pit crew. He said he moved. But it'd be nice to see him, the front and the back on the show again. Okay, so final topic I want to get to is my review on a brand new show that comes on FX. It is called Pose. Now, I don't know if you've noticed or if you kind of get the reasoning for this shirt. It says New York 1987 on it. It also is the timeline in which Pose takes place. This is also the opening title, well, the title crawl, if you want to call it a crawl, unless, Star Wars, the crawl goes up, but this is like the opening look, post, whatever you want to call it, for Paris is Burning. Paris is Burning is by far one of my all-time favorite documentaries. I call it the gay Bible. That's what I call it, because it basically gives you an inside look inside the ballroom scene, ballroom culture, especially when it comes to gay men and trans women of color. So one of the things I love about Pose is basically it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It comes on every Sunday at 10 o'clock on FX. Definitely check it out. Definitely support it, because we need to see more of our trans brothers and sisters on TV. And I really hope with the success of this show, we can get to see more stories, not just about ballroom, but also about just the trans community. I really feel like TV is still, we're still an unrepresented community. LGBT people. I don't see enough shows regarding gay men on television. I don't see enough shows we're sporadically around in different shows, and we play the sidekick or the side character or the best friend of, but there's not a lot of shows that really gives us a platform to tell our stories. And to me, I feel like the show is groundbreaking because we have 5 trans women on the show. Excuse me. We have 5 trans women on the show, and their stories are so amazing and individual. One of the things I had to write down names because I wanted to make sure that I remember everybody. So for those of you who are interested in watching the show, it's basically about a house called the House of Abundance. It is ran by Electra Abundance, played by one of my really good friends, Dominique Ross. Now, I've known Dominique for years, honey. Back in the day when in New York, we used to have bars in the West Village called Two Potato. She was a staple at Langston. She was doing a lot of like the urban parties, and Tyra was a staple in our community, especially in the men of color community. So she was out, she was doing the drag, she was performing, she was hosting, she was a face. And so it's good to see when you see one of your friends progress and you've seen how far they've come from where they were and how many name transitions she's gone through. But I digress. So basically it is about the House of Abundance, and they are like the belle of the ball. They're like the biggest house. I don't know. Like, if you were to watch, I guess if you were to watch Paris is Burning, the biggest house would be the House of Extravaganza, because they're the most successful. Like House of Extravaganza, House of Ninja, a lot of them were used in a lot of situations. Like you see them a lot in documentaries. A lot of them have danced with Madonna. Speaking of which, shout out to Jose Extravaganza, who was one of the guys who was doing the judging, 10s across the board. He was actually a backup dancer for Madonna. There were a lot of people from our legendary community that were in the show. So I want to shout them out. But anyway, to get back to the plot, it's basically about this family. The opening scene was everything, where they were just coming in and they were looking for an outfit to wear because they were going to walk. The category was about royalty. So they basically they didn't sneak in. They were in a museum. They stayed until like they turned off all the lights and stole out of the garments, broke out, ran off to the place to walk the ball, and of course the cops basically tracked them down and they walked away. She walked towards them with her hands. It's like, bitch, just take me away, honey. And then carted them all off to jail. That was like the most legendary opening scene ever. I lived for it because, yes, a lot of the girls, when you walked a ball or wanted to feel grand or grandiose, whatever you want to call it, a lot of them, yes, did mop a lot of those looks. Some of them had the ability to design and their looks and everything, but a lot of them was mopped. Mop basically means steal, in case you didn't know that. But anyway, so it's like they would mop a look and they would walk in just to walk that category and feel like a celebrity, because balls were the only place where people of color and LGBT people, or just say gay and trans, because mostly a lot of the other ones, like I guess bisexual, you can't really tell. There were some lesbians that would walk, but they would really walk the Banji category, Banji girl, or one of those looks, like if you're giving the whole butch look or whatever you want to call it. So the House of Abundance is like one of the most legendary houses in New York, and they cannot be defeated. They slay every time. So Blanca, who was played by MJ Rodriguez, who was in a movie I definitely recommend called Saturday Church. Definitely check that out. It's a great movie about a young boy who discovers voguing. Who's like, he's young, he discovers voguing, he likes to wear shoes and makeup and all this other stuff, goes down to the pier, discovers voguing, starts hanging out with some trans girls, a little gay boy that he falls in love with. It's a cute movie, definitely check it out. Blanca is a girl who is trying to find her own way in the world, finds out she's HIV positive, but is trying to find out where she fits in the world. So she leaves Electra in the House of Abundance to start her own house, which is called the House of Evangelista, and she starts recruiting people. She comes across a young guy by the name of Damon, who is a dancer. He wants to be a dancer, but he's also gay. His father finds some gay porn. Story of my life. Finds some gay porn, discovers he's trying to be a dancer and all this other stuff. Son admits he's gay. Father beats his ass. Mother and parents kick him out. He basically winds up homeless in New York, comes across Blanca. Blanca takes him under her wing. She becomes his house mother, and she basically gets him to kind of pursue his dreams as a dancer, but also gets him to walk a couple of balls and this, that, and the other. So he starts to transition into the world of ballroom, and also trying to pursue his dreams as a dancer. One of the things I absolutely love, my girl Angel, played by India Moore. Another pretty trans girl. She's a prostitute, also joins the House of Evangelista. And what had happens is she basically goes off and after she joins the house, she's a prostitute, she comes across this guy named Stan, played by Evan Peters, a white guy who gets a job working in the Trump building. His boss is James Vanderbeek, who is a hot mess in this show, and I absolutely love it. Like, who gets interviewed and your boss literally goes and snorts coke in front of you? Like, that shit I've never seen. But I could imagine it is so 80s. It is something that probably was doing, and I'm sure our president probably was and still is snorting the good old white powder. Which probably explains why he's so damn psychotic. But I'm not to get into politics. India comes across this guy named Stan who is married to Kate Mara, and they have 2 children. He has the whole white picket fence life, but he also has feelings for a young girl who happens to be transgender. So he forms his relationship with her. She's trying to look for love, and of course, like I said, she joins the house of Evangelista, and she just wants that knight in shining armor. She reminds me a lot of Venus Extravaganza in a way. It's like, oh, I'm trying to be that white woman, the with the white picket fence and having this beautiful life and stuff. Hopefully she doesn't endure the same fate as Venus. That's what I'm hoping. What's the other stuff I wanted to point out? So, Billy Porter as Pray Tell, who is like the MC of the balls. Live for him. Like, I've been following Billy Porter's career since he appeared in the Broken Hearts Club. Ever since then, I've been following his career in theater, where he's had small movie roles. So this role is definitely well-deserved for him. And I love the character that he plays in the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, because the sassiness of, yes, you own everything. Like, he reminded me of, and I cannot remember his name, the queen that's in Paris is Burning, that's like, OPULENCE, opulence. You own everything. Everything is yours. Yes, it reminded me of shake the dice and steal the rice. All those little iconic one-liners that he says in the movie. That is who he was giving me throughout this day. Also, I wanted to point out, Dominique Ross, I live for you and your over-the-top acting. She was giving me a cross between Naomi Campbell and Dominique Devereaux, played by Diane Carroll back in the Dynasty days. That's what she was giving me, the full-on reads, the shade, all of that stuff. I was gagging over those crazy lines, and I love the fact that they allowed them to incorporate a lot of real trans stories in there. And one of the bottom lines that I love about the show is it's about family. Regardless of all the over-the-top craziness and stuff, and there were issues I had with them, which is, now you know good and damn well that those New York apartments, if you ain't had no damn money, and the size of them apartments, you was like, oh, girl, this ain't Friends and this ain't Sex in the damn City. Like, that was unrealistic in my opinion on that, because we all knew that a lot of the children that were from that time, when you ain't had no damn money and you couldn't get a job because you were trans and this, that, and the other, that you literally had 50 people, or maybe I'm exaggerating, but you literally had 50 people to a house to even make ends meet up in there. So the whole idea of them with the house, the apartment sizes or stuff, it's a bunch of bull. But other than that, I get it. It's a TV show. You're trying to sell a fantasy, and it is what it is. I also want to give a shout. Oh, and then we got Angel Bismarck Curiel, who appeared in the end of the episode. He plays Little Poppy. Poppy Honey. He is killing you. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with his character. So I'm definitely in love with the show. I'm really looking forward to it. Another thing is the music. I live for the music. That scene at the end when he starts dancing to I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. And the funny thing was, when he put that damn cassette tape in that radio and he pressed play, I was like, because I had heard that he was going to do a scene where he was going to dance to Whitney Houston. Something told me, it was like, bitch. Now, how do I have a stranger he gonna pick I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston? And lo and behold, that damn song came on. I damn near fell out my chair, because it's funny, like, it's like, and to see this kid, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Because the dancing was a bit of messy, but I realized what it was. It was him building up to releasing all that pain and the suffering and all that negative energy, all the shit that he went through from his parents and the rejection and being homeless and getting his bag stolen with all of his items in it, and then just getting to that plateau. It was just a surge of energy, and to me it just felt like it was the first time in a long time that I literally could turn on the television and see excuse me, myself and some of the characters and people I know on camera and being represented on television. And like I said, we need more of these representations. And thank God I went to film school and I'm a writer and all that stuff, because I'm going to make this happen. If there's anybody out there that lives in the New York area that wants to collaborate, hit a bitch up. Okay, also, before I go, because I I'm recording this on my phone. I don't want to like take an hour running my mouth on all of this, but I want to wrap it up. Shout out to Matt Quayle on the music. Matt Quayle, I'm living for him. Like, he's definitely bringing it in regards to the music. Matt Quayle, if I can recall, used to do a lot of producing for a lot of dance artists back in the day. I think like Amber and Ultra Nate, like a lot of remixes, a lot of dance remixes and stuff. So I remember him with that, with like the whole, all those like in the same category as like the Juki Vasquez's and the Thunder Pusses and stuff. But he's really been doing his thing. I've been following him music because he does the music on Mr. Robot as well. So I live for the music that he does for that show, and then to see that he's doing the music also for Pose is even more icing on the cake. So I just want to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing more episodes of this show. I like basically where we're going so far. It was an amazing pilot. The pilot was pristine, excellent, perfect. I'm kind of nervous because Ryan Murphy has a habit of doing shows where they start out amazing, they start out really good, the writing is tight, everything is really on point, but then we start to fall a little off the rails. And if you don't believe me, check out a couple of seasons of American Horror Story, Glee, I can go on forever, Nip Tuck. But I am a fan of Ryan Murphy. I'm a fan of a lot of his work. I followed a lot of his work over the years. Like, I've been a fan of Ryan Murphy since Popular. That's how far I go back with him. So like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to the show, and I'm going to keep watching. And I may, depending on the situation, I might just do a Pose recap. Speaking of which, if you're in the New York area, a friend of mine, Dijon, is doing a Pose party because, you know, we have like the RuPaul's Drag Race parties and stuff, a lot of gay bars and stuff. So if you're in the New York area and you happen to go to Rock Bar on Sundays, he is doing a party, like a viewing party for the show there. So definitely I'm gonna try to make it out there. If you happen to see me, say hello. We'll have a couple of drinks, we'll have a laugh. So definitely do that. Also, follow me on Instagram at Chris Avalon Blog, where I post a lot of photos. Look me up on Facebook, Chris Avalon. I think I'm the only one up there. Twitter at Chris Avalon NYC. So thank you all for checking out this new segment that I'm doing. I'm going to be trying to work on cutting down the show a little bit more, and not be rambling on as much, because I don't want to make them like 30-minute things, but I'm going to try to make it shorter. But once again, thank you for watching this first episode of Hot Tea, and I hope I'll be bringing you a lot more hot tea in the future.